What's up guys? In today's video, I'm going to be analyzing TV Royale matches. So what I mean by this is I'm going to be watching these games with you guys, basically saying what mistakes they make or simply what I would do differently, because if you guys didn't know, one of the best ways to improve in this game is watching your own replays or just watching matches in general, because when you're watching the game instead of playing, you're able to think more about the decisions the players are making or the ones that you made if you're watching your own replay. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to overall show you guys kind of like my analysis, what I'm thinking when I'm watching the games, and it might be able to help you guys out. So as you guys can see, these guys are all at 7,500 trophies in these replays on TV Royale Legendary Arena, Arena 20. I'm going to be picking out games where they're using decks that are pretty meta or at least usable, so they're not just completely random decks, so you guys can actually, learn something from them. So the first one I'm going to show you guys is a giant graveyard deck versus this goblin drill deck. Both of these decks, of course, very, very usable in the meta. By the way, let me know if you guys enjoy this type of video. I can do it again. I did this before a couple of years ago, but I decided to bring it back, especially with Mega Draft Ladder. I'm looking for new content anyway. So let's see. Giant in the back first play. Believe it or not, that's actually a good play with Giant Graveyard. Drill gets sent in immediately in the other lane. I think that was smart as well. However, defending this giant is going to be pretty difficult, I would say. Really nice Fire Spirit, by the way. Even though he took a lot of damage, he's going to have a nice counter push opportunity. The only problem is Mighty Miner is going to be incredible against the giant. And Zapped is a reset, but overall I don't know if that's going to be enough. But look at that Witch, though. Just going ham there. I don't know. That looked pretty scary, but as you can see, the log ended up kind of saving charge-ins here, and he just cleans up with a Fire Spirit. So far, a good start for the drill player. I will say that this matchup, I'm pretty sure, is not too hard, I think, for either player. The Mighty Miner is just insane against the Giant, but on the flip side, the Graveyard definitely could be really annoying for the drill player to deal with, because he doesn't have a reliable counter to it besides log. That's pretty much his main counter, but if he's able to shred the giant with the Mighty Miner, it shouldn't be too much of an issue. But as you see, Graveyard is probably going to get sent in here, so I think this was probably a pretty good Graveyard. He definitely needed to go for a Mighty Miner there. So when we talk about a mistake, that was a big one right there. So let's talk about that for a second. What I think Chargin should have done differently right there is, and you can tell from all that damage he took, he should have cycled the Mighty Miner before he played anything for that Graveyard. He needed to DPS down that Giant. And yes, there were skeletons from the Witch potentially to distract the Mighty Miner, but he could have taken them out with skeletons. He shouldn't have let that happen. That was just a very big mistake. I don't know why he defended the Graveyard first. Could end up costing him the game. And by the way, for all these games, I don't know who won. I didn't watch them kind of like you guys, so I'm just kind of watching as we go. So I'm kind of just, it's kind of a live, sort of commentary or analysis, you could say. So kind of with you guys, I don't know the outcome. So I'm kind of figuring that out myself, but as I'm figuring that out, I'm identifying what I would do differently. So he took out the tower there. That was good. Minions were really bad. I don't know why he did that. They just died to the Mighty Miner. Complete waste of elixir. So what I would have potentially done, and that was a big mistake, if I were Ilrory here, or whatever the Giant Graveyard's player's name is, or how to pronounce it, I would have just not defended at all there, because he basically just wasted all his elixir. He could have gone in for a Giant Graveyard a lot sooner. And when you've already taken a tower with Giant Graveyard, you should be sending in Giant Graveyard pretty much constantly. Whenever you have the Giant Graveyard in cycle, you should be almost always playing it very aggressively in a good amount of matchups. So by him defending that, it could potentially allow Chargins to have a chance of coming back here as a result. So we'll see what happens here. This is still a very good situation for the Giant Graveyard player, especially in a two-tower game. Giant Graveyard's broken, so if the drill player wins this would be kind of a crazy comeback, and I'll definitely have a lot to say after of what the Giant Graveyard player did wrong. We already know he over-defended, so let's see if the drill player decides to fireball here. He's going to drill first. That's smart. I would have done that as well, because the drill itself is going to deal some damage to the Witch. Unfortunately, though, goblins are not going to take it out, so that's unfortunate for the drill player. Mighty Miner does get rid of that Witch. So I think the only way for the drill player to win in this situation is he needs to get a mighty miner on top of the tower, unless the giant graveyard player chokes. So he did let that musk lock on. That's huge. Free fireball as well. Does he log to potentially finish off the witch and then send in the drill? Let's see if he does decide to do that. Yeah, log comes in. Ooh, wow. Yeah, okay. The giant graveyard player's throwing. Oh my goodness. Okay. Where's the giant graveyard? You gotta send it in. So he goes... Oh, he's leaking elixir. What is he doing? Okay, yeah, that was just fireball, right? What was that guy doing? The giant graveyard player. That guy threw. Look, like, giant graveyard, I'm just going to be honest. Sorry if this offends any giant graveyard players. It's a pretty easy deck to use, alright? Don't overthink it. And one of the main things about giant graveyard is not over-defending. And that guy over-defended way too much. I could tell he was overthinking. He probably was panicking during the game. So many really bad skeleton armies. He should have been going in for more giants and graveyards. And notice how the other guy was going for bomb tower to pull away the giant. What he should have done is gone for some of the giants at the bridge. Switch it up a little bit. You know, don't be super predictable and do the same thing every single time if it's not working out. You got to figure that out. Change it up so the next time around, you know, you can probably catch your opponent off guard. Because I'm going to tell you right now, in that situation... That giant graveyard player 100% should have won. That was a complete throw. He just choked so hard. I mean, that game at the start could go either way if it's like a 1-tower game. But in a 2-tower game, there's no excuse to lose in that situation, especially with the damage lead he had. So he just had to not over-defend as much. Alright guys, so let's get in the next game here. We got a Lava Hound against Expo deck. So these guys I think are probably a little better. You guys can see this guy's in Royal Champion. This guy, well, this guy's in Challenger too. Alright, this will be an interesting game. So Lava Hound against Expo. This should be... I feel like... So Expo usually counters Lava Hound, especially if it's Lava Loon. But because he's using... Oh, wow. No. You do not want to Expo first play. No. That is so toxic. Okay, I mean, it worked, but trust me when I say this, guys, you do not want to do that. Good Expo players never do that. That's... I know, and it's weird because it's like it worked. So I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, but boss, he took like over half of his tower. But trust me, guys. Here's the thing. What? Why would he split Skeleton Dragons? Oh my gosh, that was a horrible play. Horrible play. Why would he split Skeleton Dragons? When you're using Skeleton Dragons, you almost never want to split them. Especially in this type of situation. Like, why would he not just play them, like, 2 in the right or something? But anyway, you don't want to Expo first play, because if you're against a Golem deck or an E-Giant deck, you literally could lose, like, immediately. Or, like, a Giant deck, or, probably some other things I'm forgetting of. But, like, it can cost you the game, 100%. Or even a monk. Like, what if someone's running a monk, you know? So, definitely don't do that unless you, for some reason, know the deck. So, Fireball came in, and as you can see, Skelly Dragons in response. What was that Expo? If that wasn't a misclick, I don't know what that guy was doing. Okay, so, probably instead of minoring there, he should have waited, knowing that the other guy was going to play archers, to then be able to go arrows, because obviously he couldn't afford the elixir to do it after sending in that miner. So that miner was a little bit of a mistake, in my opinion. So it's not looking good for the Lava player, but I think he can come back. Like, there's definitely a chance, especially considering he just Fireball the Phoenix. Horrible Tombstone. I would have Lava just set up a push, especially because he was up so much elixir. And the Tombstone's not doing much in this matchup. I mean, sure, it's going to distract the Expo a little bit, but I would have just Lava'd in the back and set up a push. I mean, yeah, I guess it's alright because it did end up stopping the Expo, but I still would have just Lava'd probably, because there would have been no way the Expo player would defend this push if he had that extra 3 elixir to contribute to the Lava push. He could have gotten another Lava down with 3 more elixir. Assuming if he didn't play that Tombstone, he'd have 3 more elixir now. He could have gone for a secondary Lava Hound. That's actually what I would have done. Instead of going in for all this support, I would have gone just for another Lava Hound, and it would have been, like, undefendable. But either way, from the looks of it, it looks like he might... Yeah, he is going to take the tower. So that was a nice comeback by the Lava player. Not going to lie, I will say this Lava player overall played pretty well. There were a couple things I would have done differently. I think it was a bit of a risk going for that tombstone instead of not going lava, but luckily he was still able to defend. And yeah, that, like, bruh, I mean, I can't really believe he came back, especially after that start. I think the lava player played pretty well. The Expo player, I think, played okay too, but some of the Expos might have been a little bit too aggressive. Maybe he should have played a little bit more defense, replacing Teslas and stuff like that. And maybe even being more aggressive in single, like capitalizing off of the start he had, because if he just got one more Expo lock, he would have locked in that game. But overall, that was decently played from both sides. It probably was, I think, an okay matchup for Lava, especially because it was a Lava Miner Arrows variant and not Lava Loon. Alright, so I guess we'll watch this next one here. You guys can see some Miner Wallbreaker deck against Hog EQ, so let's see how good these players are. So this guy's in Masters 3, 70, well, they're all 7,500 trophies, and this guy's in Challenger 3. Alright, so let's take a look at this match here. So, normally, it depends on the variation of Hog EQ and Miner Wallbreakers, but I think that Hog EQ usually has matchup against Miner Wallbreakers, but because he's got delivery, I'm not really sure. That might change things a little bit. Actually, if anything, it might be a good thing because he's got delivery, but he doesn't have Ice Spirit or E-Spirit, so the bats are going to get an insane amount of value on Paul's side of the map. So he's going to get a ton of value out of those. So he's going to go bats on top of the knight here. He's got nothing to pair with the bats, though, so they're just going to kind of die. Hog gets sent in. Bomb tower up high. He probably didn't need to go for that bomb tower placement. He could have just played it lower. But either way, it doesn't really matter because it's still going to fully counter the Hog. The bomb tower is very sturdy. It's like an amazing counter to a lot of ground wing conditions. Way better than the cannon is because it has more health. That's actually why a lot of people are using bomb tower right now instead of the cannon. But especially, it is one more elixir though, but it's got way more health than the cannon. So that kind of makes up for it in a way. Alright, so archers get split here for the bats. Nothing too interesting happens so far yet. Hog gets sent in though. This time around we do see a lower bomb tower. The EQ isn't in cycle, but even if it was in rotation, I don't think an earthquake would have been good right there. It would have been too aggressive. So I don't really think that miner was that good, especially since what you want to do with Miner Wallbreakers is you want to actually kind of split the damage you're going in, if that makes sense. You don't really want to go in for a miner. So the miner was really bad because there was a knight coming in. He should have at least waited until the knight crossed the bridge instead of just playing the miner first, tanking for the knight. That doesn't really make any sense. You want it to be the other way around. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, Paul's winning by a little bit, but I don't know if it's going to be enough of a lead because Lucas can definitely come back here with the earthquake spam. It's just really going to come down to how good Paul's defense is defending these hogs. So I like the poison cycle. You definitely do want to poison the bomb towers like that, like what Paul's doing, especially if they're just playing it preemptively on nothing. I mean, it's an even trade and you're getting tower damage, so you might as well go for it. Because especially after the miner nerf, you're not going to be getting as much chip damage as you did before. So definitely something you want to keep in mind, you know, making sure that you're cycling enough poisons because otherwise you might fall behind. So Hog is going to get through here. I actually believe that's going to get a couple shots. Delivery, oh, it only got one, I think, or I couldn't tell. But anyway, he takes the lead in the right lane. Poison comes in. You can see he plays it with the miners so that if Lucas plays the goblins, they just go down. Hog probably, yeah, going to come in on the right lane. EQ gets pre-placed as well as a log. So that log was actually pretty good. It forced bats and a delivery out of Paul. Kind of made him panic and overcommit a little bit there. So Lucas is trying to outcycle right now. Paul should play something. Otherwise, yeah, what was he doing? So that was a mistake right there. Did you see how he didn't play anything? And as a result, he wasn't able to get back to his bomb tower in time. He should have played something, even though he wasn't full on elixir. That's something you got to keep in mind. When you're running a cycle deck and you're against another cycle deck, even though at the current time they might not have that, say, Hog in cycle, for example, they're going to get back to it really quickly. So you want to make sure that you're setting your cycle up correctly to have that bomb tower in hand, and he didn't have it, but he had Spear Goblins cycle, something he could have easily cycled to get back to that bomb tower quicker, knowing that Lucas is definitely going to go in for that Hog as soon as he had it. So, just like that, because of that sequence I was just talking about the outcycling. Lucas is in a pretty decent lead right now going into Triple Elixir. He's actually going to go ahead and cycle Earthquakes. I don't know if I like that play because the poison does do more damage than the Earthquakes, so he needs to continue pressuring with the Hogs. He can't rely on only the Earthquakes, so maybe he should have waited until he went in for a Hog to get an Earthquake down with it. Oh my goodness, he just missed the tower with an Earthquake. That is huge for Paul here. Miner gets sent in again, getting more chip damage. Poison comes in as well. Hog coming in, Log coming in, and the Earthquake. Is the Hog Rider going to get a connection? It is barely not going to get a hit. That is very, very good for the Miner Wallbreaker player here. Bomb target's pre-placed for the Wallbreakers. Hog needs to come in here right now. Oh, Goblins do catch it. Okay, so the Hog, I believe, needs a shot. If Paul cycles a poison here, what is he doing? He needs to cycle a poison. Oh my gosh, why is he not cycling poison? Is he going to throw? Oh my goodness. Not going to lie. Paul kind of screwed up there at the end by going in for a miner instead of a poison. Because the miner's not guaranteed damage. If Lucas caught that, the miner, he would have lost. Whereas if he just cycled the poison, he would have clenched the win. Because then Earthquake obviously wouldn't have done enough. So, kind of a bad decision. But sometimes in this game, there's a little bit of luck. Like stuff like catching the miner. So in the end, it didn't end up costing him. But definitely was not the play there to go for a miner. Alright guys, so the next one we'll watch will be this Golem versus Lava Hound deck. So this guy's actually in Ultimate Champion. Let's take a look and see what the other guy's in. Just Champion. So, alright, kind of evenly or closely matched, I would say. So yeah, Golem E-Drag against Lava Mighty Miner. So I feel like this is going to be kind of an interesting match. Typically, Golem does do good against Lava, but because this Lava deck has Mighty Miner in it, I'm actually not sure who has the advantage here. I guess we'll see how this game plays out. So if I were Handy here, I probably would just either wait or split archers would be fine. And then obviously on the Japanese player side, running Golem, I wouldn't do anything because with this kind of Golem deck, it's way better in double elixir. So we do see Lava first play. I mean, my opinion on that is it's probably okay. I mean, it's a little risky to go Lava first play, but at the same time, if your opponent doesn't do anything for the first, like 10 seconds, there's a very good chance they're not running a cycle deck, so you're probably not going to be punished too heavily for it, but okay, so really bad archers over there. They should have been played either later and just let the Dark Prince connect to the tower, or they should have been played earlier so then they split, so then the Dark Prince would have only hit one of them at a time. So, smart Lumberjack, I guess, knowing that he wasn't going to be able to defend this Lava Loon push. NATO to pull that back. I guess he kind of had to do it. But yeah, there was no way he's going to save the tower. But I guess he did kind of have to go for that NATO because as I was saying, or the reason he had to do it was because if, well, he didn't, he probably would have been 3 crowns. So, kind of I don't know about that Mighty Miner. I guess it was okay because even though it was able to be defended by the E-Drag, this E-Drag is just kind of gonna die here. It's not going to be supported by anything. And now we see a massive elixir advantage for this Lava player. So, Lava gets played in the middle. Not really sure why he did that. If I were him, I would have played the Lava behind the King Tower so he had more time to build up a push. I have no clue why he decided to... Really bad Tombstone. Really bad Tombstone. I'm going to explain why. Okay, even worse Dark Prince, though. Oh my gosh, what are both these guys doing? Alright, I'm going to pause, because I want to go over all the stuff I just saw, which was all really bad. I saw like 4 mistakes in a row. When someone goes Elixir... So, if you Lava Hounded in the back, right? And if someone goes Elixir Collector, why are you going Tombstone? Tombstone is similar to an Elixir Collector, right? It's kind of like an investment, it's not getting value immediately, it's getting value over the time. But if you just played an expensive card, and then someone Elixir Collector, you should be supporting that expensive card, whether it's a Lava, Golem, E-Giant, or whatever, and going in for a push. So he should have played Archers instead of the Tombstone. And then the other guy goes Dark Prince on the Tombstone? What is he doing? That was an awful play. He should be focused on defending the Lava, not defending the Tombstone. Or taking it out. Like, what was the point of that? If anything, he could have gone Dark Prince, like, lower to distract maybe the, the Phoenix that was with that lava push, maybe that would have been beneficial because, as you can see, it's currently locked on the tower as a result of going in for that horrible Dark Prince. So, yeah, just had to pause and go over those mistakes because I saw like 3 in a row there. So I just wanted to make it kind of like abundantly clear, you know, what they were doing wrong. So I'm not even going to discuss that. That was an obvious misclick. So unless Handy loses his whole tower here, he'll be able to just fireball, I guess. Arrows come in. Nothing for the Lumberjack. Is he going to go Phoenix? Okay, so Phoenix comes in. Oh, wow, that Nado was really good. But wow, that Nado was amazing. Is he going to fireball? Wow. Yeah, that Nado was really good. Okay. So, as I was saying, okay, so at this point, I'm going to say the lava player is probably going to win. Because how is he going to set up a golem push in time? I'm predicting, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm predicting the lava player is going to win here. Fireball comes in. Archer's on top of the E-Drag. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like... I feel like the lava player's got this. Like, I feel like it's a better situation for him than the golem player. Because getting a whole golem push going is going to be so difficult. I don't know what just happened. There was a tiny bit of lag there. But anyway, goes E-Drag for this Phoenix. And then does he lava here? Very good lava. I was actually thinking that, like, off to the side. So the E-Drag doesn't chain the Phoenix. So he finally gets a golem down. It takes triple elixir. Really bad balloon. He just played that right into the E-Drag. Horrible. He should have played it on the right side. At the very least, to space it out. Like, that was just an awful push. I don't know why he didn't space it out there. Kind of like how he spaced out the lava from the Phoenix so the E-Drag didn't chain. Why would he drop the balloon where the lava is, where the E-Drag is just going to chain it? It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Should have been on the right. As a result, might end up losing this here. I thought this was going to be very good for the lava player, this 2-tower or 3-tower situation, but clearly not. So, wow, this is going to be a close one. Oh, okay, that's probably it, right? He's got to get a balloon in. Oh, yeah, that fireball wasn't. Fireball was not it. And that's going to be game. Okay, so ton of mistakes that game from both sides. I guess we'll say call that for the video. That'll be the last game. What do we review? 4 or 5 games. Yeah, so I hope you guys learned something from this video. I actually think that game especially, because of how many mistakes there were from both sides. And people think like, oh, beatdown decks, right? They're like easy to play because there's less plays happening. Well, I mentioned even though there's less plays in beatdown decks, they both made their fair share of mistakes. Lava player definitely could have avoided that loss if he played a lot better, which really shows how strategic this game is. And with players like Muhammad Light, like the best player in the game, we've kind of recently learned like 90% of this time when you lose in this game, it's a skill issue. As much as we talk about like matchup and stuff, there's always things you can improve upon. Same with this Hog game. Like, Lucas definitely, if he played a little better, could have won that without a doubt. It really like came down to the wire. This Expo game as well. Like, I mean, all these games basically that we went over this video. And especially this Giant Graveyard game. I'm surprised I forgot about that. This game, more than all of them, that guy easily could have won had he played better. But even this Expo game, that guy definitely could have won if he played a little better too. So all 5 games, or sorry, I should 4 games this video. All 4 games, you know, there were things that the person who lost definitely did something wrong. So I guess that's kind of the point of this video, kind of the analysis of all the games. Like, very rarely there's a perfect game in Clash Royale, especially when, you know, it's just a ladder game that's not even consisting of pros. There's probably going to be more mistakes. which ultimately you want to try to mitigate as many of them as possible and learn from them so you don't repeat them. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you guys are not subscribed already. Let me know if you want me to do this again, and thanks again until next time, guys.